Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and good morning, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests and fellow scholars. We have a protocol to follow as we welcome the entrance of our VIPs. We kindly request that everyone rise from your seat as our VIPs make their entrance. And please remain standing until after we sing the national anthem, Negaraku and Wawasan Setia Warga UITM. Your cooperation in observing this protocol is greatly appreciated. Additionally, we kindly request that you ensure your mobile phones are set to the silent mode during the event. Thank you for your understanding. Announcing the arrival of our guest of honor, Mr. Burhanuddin Hilmi bin Mohammed Elias Harun, President and Executive Director Terengganu Incorporated, Professor Technologist Dr. Mazidah Putih, Rector UITM Cawangan Terengganu, and other guests of honor. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests and fellow scholars, please remain standing as we are about to sing our national anthem, Negaraku and Wawasan Satya Warga UITM.
Bersatu kita warga UITM, kita bangsa perkasa. Badan setia untuk negara, penuh semangat wajar. Kita jangan mudah terlupa pengorbanan perjuangan anak bangsa. Kita jangan mudah terleka kemajuan keamanan yang ada. Kita berterima kasih pada pemimpin-pemimpin negara. Kita rasa penuh bersyukur kerana dan kemuliaan darinya. Kamilah pendukung pewaris bangsa. Kamilah penjaga bangsa Malaysia. Kamilah warga berwawasan.
Ladies and gentlemen, you may now be seated. Before we continue with our program, we would like to take a moment to invoke the blessing of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala for the success of TeMIC 2023 and for the well-being of all those present here today. I now invite Ustaz Muhammad Shah Nizam Azmi to the stage to lead us.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Al-Fatihah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Allahumma raditu billahi rabba وبالإسلام دينا وبمحمد صلى الله عليه وسلم نبيا ورسولا. Segala puji bagi Allah, Tuhan sekalian alam. Selawat dan salam ke atas Nabi junjungan besar Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Allahumma ya Allah, kami mengangkat tangan menadah, mohon diberi taufik dan inayah agar majlis Terengganu Multidisciplinary International Conference 2023 sampai ke penghujung tanpa masalah. Allahumma ya Allah, Engkau curahkanlah ya Allah akan petunjuk hidayah pada pembentang yang bersusah payah. Moga penyampaian lancar terarah agar pemahaman menjadi mudah. Allahumma ya Allah, Engkau perbetulkanlah ya Allah akan pemikiran para hadirin yang datang agar cahaya ilmu kian berkembang. Moga dapat penyuluh jalan hadapan. Ya Allah, Engkau berikanlah ya Allah akan kekuatan, semangat dan ketabahan pada AJK pelaksana maupun pengurusan kerana perjalanan perlukan pengorbanan. Jika tidak, erti konferensi takkan kesampaian. Ya Allah, untuk negara kami Malaysia, khususnya negeri Terengganu tercinta, Engkau jauhkanlah ya Allah akan malapetaka, jauhkan dari musibah bencana, jauhkan ya Allah dari gerak gempita. Ya Allah, hadirkanlah ya Allah padanya penghuni watan nikmat kesejahteraan saling bersyukuran, nikmat perpaduan saling bergandingan, nikmat kerukunan saling bermaafan. Ya Allah, hindarkanlah ya Allah bencana yang membawa penderitaan, hindarkan ya Allah permusuhan yang membawa kemusnahan, dan Engkau hindarkanlah ya Allah perbalahan yang menghakiskan akan nilai kemanusiaan. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah wa fil akhirati hasanah wa qina adzaban nar. Wa sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.
Amin, amin, ya Rabbal Alamin. Thank you, Ustaz. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and good morning. Our guest of honor, Mr. Burhanuddin Hilmi bin Muhammad Elias Harun, President and Executive Director, Terengganu Incorporated, Professor Technologist Dr. Mazidah Putih, Rector UiTM Cawangan Terengganu, Associate Professor Technologist Dr. Sarifah Fauziah Syed Deraman, Deputy Rector of Academic Affairs, Associate Professor Dr. Rosman Mahmud, Deputy Rector of Research and Industry Linkage, Professor Dato Dr. Muhammad Azmi Omar, President and CEO, International Center for Education in Islamic Finance, Deputy Rector, Assistant Rectors and Executive Management of UiTM Cawangan Terengganu, Head of Departments and Unit, delegation from strategic partners, media partners, all participants, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the grand opening ceremony of TeMIC 2023, the third Terengganu Multidisciplinary International Conference. I am Muhammad Safwan from the Faculty of Hotel and Tourism Management, will be serving as your MC for today's event. TeMIC 2023 is the all-in-one multidisciplinary conference. It is not just a one conference, but a convergence of four powerful multidisciplinary conferences, namely Terengganu International Business and Economic Conference, International Academic Conference, International Conference on Engineering and Computing Technologies, and International Muamalat Conference. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests and fellow scholars, we are honored to have with us today a distinguished personality who has played an integral role in the academic community. It is my privilege to invite Director of UiTM Cawangan Terengganu, Professor Technologist Dr. Mazidah Putih, to deliver the introductory speech for this significant event.
Mr. Burhanuddin Hilmi bin Muhammad Elias Harun, President and Executive Director Terengganu Incorporated Sdn Berhad. Associate Professor T.S. Dr. Sharifah Fauziah Said Rahman, Deputy Director of Academic Affairs. Associate Professor Dr. Rosman Mahmud, Deputy Director of Research and Industry Linkages. Professor Datuk Dr. Muhammad Azmi Omar, President and Chief Executive Officer INSEF. Deputy Directors, Assistant Directors and Executive Management of UiTM Cabang Terengganu, Head of Department and Unit, Delegation from Strategic Partners, Media Partners, all participants, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and a very good morning. Ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning to everyone and thank you for joining us at the third Terengganu Multidisciplinary International Conference TeMIC 2023. To our distinguished speakers and delegates who have come from all over the world, I bid you a very warm welcome to Terengganu. We are indeed honoured to have you here with us, University Teknologi Mara Cawangan Terengganu. I welcome the presence of strategic partners and most importantly, our platinum partner, which is Terengganu Incorporated Sdn Berhad, Terengganu Inc. And also we are very pleased with the presence of Encik Burhanuddin Hilmi, President and Executive Director of Terengganu Inc. to officiate this program. A big thank you to all team of Terengganu Inc. for this excellent cooperation. Okay, not forgetting all the sponsors who are also strategic partners for TeMIC 2023, including Yayasan Pendidikan Maidam, Permai Hotel Kuala Terengganu, Perbadanan Tabung Pendidikan Tinggi Nasional PT-PTN, WIS Global Sdn Berhad, of Universitas Gajah Mada Indonesia, Guma University Japan, okay, University of Auckland New Zealand, Universitas Islam Sultan Agong Unisula Indonesia, Universitas Sains Al-Quran Unsik Jawa Tengah Wonosobo Indonesia, Universitas Bunda Mulia Indonesia UBM, and Universitas Sumatera Utara Indonesia USU. Ladies and gentlemen, TeMIC 2023 is a multidisciplinary conference that combines International Academic Conference, that is IAC 7, Terengganu International Business and Economic Conference, TBAC 8, and International Conference on Engineering Computing Technologies, ICT 4, and International Muamalat Conferences, IMAC 2. TeMIC's theme, Enhancing Innovation, Diversity towards Sustainability and 4IR Agenda, cater to the current needs on excellence in education and innovation in various research areas and industries. TeMIC 2023 aims to provide excellent opportunities for professionals, engineers, academicians, and industrial people to share and exchange ideas, research progress and outputs, as well as applications in various fields. I would like to take this opportunity to express my sincere thanks to the organizers and in particular our honorable speakers. All of them have been working with us since the beginning of the planning stage and they are still here today for all of us, even though they are both very busy with their responsibilities at their organization. We truly appreciate your dedication. In closing, I hope that everyone will take the opportunity from this conference to facilitate the formation of networking among industries and also between academic institutions, local and international. Hopefully, we can all significantly give more contributions to the nation's advancement in the not too distant future. To all our distinguished guests and participants, Thank you for being here. Welcome and enjoy the conference. I warmly welcome you again. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prof, for the speech. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests and participants, it is now our privilege to invite a special guest whose presence here today holds great significance. We are honored to have with us Mr. Burhanuddin Hilmi bin Mohammed alias Harun, President and Executive Director of Terengganu Incorporated, who will grace us with his word of wisdom and officially launch the TeMIC 2023. Please welcome on stage Mr. Burhanuddin Hilmi.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya wal mursalin. Wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Terima kasih Tuan Pengerusi Majlis, Profesor T.S. Dr. Mazidah Putih, Rektor UiTM Cawangan Terengganu, Associate Professor T.S. Dr. Sharifah Fauziah Said Rahman, Deputy Rector, Associate Professor Dr. Rosman Mahmud, Deputy Rector, Professor Datuk Dr. Muhammad Azmi Omar, President and Chief Executive Officer of INSEA, Deputy Rector, Assistant Rectors, Executive Management of UiTM Cawangan Kuala Terengganu, Heads of Departments and Unit, Delegations, Strategic Partners, Media Partners, and partners UiTM, all participants, ladies and gentlemen. It's really an honor for me to be here. I'm very familiar with Prof. Mazidah already. We have a lot of programs together. This is one of the programs that we are going deeper into UiTM, I believe. We are involved in various programs at UiTM. Recently, I went to have a session with the students, the intake of about 1,000. It's very encouraging to see the ITM students. I think very vibrant. Maybe dah kena brainwash dulu kot sebelum that session and something like that. But I was equally pleased to see how they behave themselves, and they were like really wanting to ask questions and wanting to learn from that session. Alhamdulillah, I think it's a very good session. And our cooperation, not only with UiTM, for everyone's information, Terengganu Inc. and its group, you can see outside there are about 4 or 5 companies from Terengganu Inc. Group to show our commitment to education and also industrial cooperation. We are also very closely having programs with UiTM. With UNIZA. We have quite a few programs with UNIZA. In fact, with UMT as well, we spend about 100,000 for the STEM program for UMT. So alhamdulillah, we have a lot of cooperation. And it's an honor for me today to have Prof. Datuk Dr. Azmi bin Omar, cikgu saya, my professor dekat Universiti Islam Antarabangsa dulu. I think I have a grayer hair than him, so I don't know, something is wrong somewhere. But I think alhamdulillah to see Prof again. I mean, it's been a long time. I think it's good when you see somebody that you met before, and now you are meeting at this conference. It's an honor for me for Prof to actually listening to me. And also basically a proof or evidence that, with a proper training, people can achieve a lot of significance in their career. I would like to express my gratitude to the organizing committee, University Technology Mara, for inviting me to this program and to open this program. Terengganu Multidisciplinary International Conference 2023, TeMIC 2023. Jangan salah baca TeMIC ke apa, TeMIC. Sorry, I had a problem. I keep on asking TeMIC ke, TeMIC ke, then when you remember term and Terengganu, then you are okay. TeMIC, see? I was made to understand this is the 3rd edition, even though there were glitches because of the so-called COVID-19 that time, but alhamdulillah it's being resumed. The main objectives of academicians and seek to support our national vision of sustaining a quality higher education ecosystem. I always talk about, for me, coming from the industry, I think it's the gap that we need to bridge between the university researchers and also the implementers like us. We are purely executors. I will have a session, plenary session later. I will very much focus on what Terengganu Incorporated and its group do. Then you can see how we actually operationalize whatever being said in the textbooks, in the media and everything. So we, as much as possible, will be able to demonstrate the success of us adopting SDG, ESG, IR 4.0, whatever you name it. Sometimes the blueprint is just too many, but you just have to make sure that everything you do, coming back for Terengganu is very simple, harnessing investments to the rakyat. Ladies and gentlemen, the TeMIC 2023 aims to provide excellent opportunities to professionals, engineers, academicians, and industrial people to share and exchange ideas, research progress and outputs, as well as applications in various fields, while addressing the theme, enhancing innovation diversity towards sustainability and 4IR agenda. When I was going through this topic, it's very big actually. And then I was challenging my team to say, how do we equate 4IR to sustainability? Because nothing stands alone nowadays. You must make sure everything is done with a purpose. The technologies of the fourth industrial revolution, we have AI, blockchain. Sekarang very tough. You have AI, we have everything. You have ChatGPT, people answering exam questions with ChatGPT. I saw one video, people going through interview session online. So whatever questions is given to the interviewer, no problem, ChatGPT. The good thing about ChatGPT is it answers immediately the question. It doesn't give you 10 choices or 10 options to, so what's it changing, you know? So the computer is getting cleverer. The people is not getting cleverer because you are going to rely so much on those technology, but how much do we retain and how much do we use it and how much do we internalize it? These technologies are known for their potential to enhance flexibility, augment efficiency, like I said, improve resource sharing and boost competitiveness and overall growth of the organizations through their real-time data interchange architecture. I think this is very important. And then the modern digital technologies and IR 4.0 and the innovations that resulted have further demonstrated remarkable potential towards sustainable industry value creation by enhancing economic elements like resource efficiency, as well as removing obstacles to social and environmental sustainability. Big words, huh? Clearly I didn't write this. But what I meant is, frankly, it's very simple. It should facilitate what you do. In business, we need to make profits because profits given back to the state, given back to the rakyat. So there is no way that the company can just last or stays on just CSR or everything, but we have to make money. By the way, we employ about 8,600 people in Terengganu Incorporated. That's a lot. Nak bagi makan anak isteri, family and whatnot, that's a lot. We paid about close to 400 million salary a year. So I would believe that we are one of the biggest employer, and to do that needs a lot of courage and commitment. You know, so tanggungjawab is very big, and at the same time also we are helping the state with the payment of loans dan sebagainya. Let us not raise a generation of bookworms who excel solely in academics, but rather a generation whose development is balanced in terms of physical, emotional, spiritual, and intellectual aspects, who are self-disciplined, skilled, patriotic, not individualistic, and who are even capable of playing an important role in society. Gen Z sekarang, it's very challenging for people, Gen X ke, Gen Y ke, you know, very challenging to understand the short attention span of the current generation. Tengok TikTok 3 minit, you know, kalau baca WhatsApp tu lama sikit, tapi ramai sangat orang bagi messages and things like that. But you give them 10-pager information or paper to digest, it's going to be a struggle. But how do we actually meet this expectation or this new reality. Today's career requires employees who are innovative and think creatively and critically in finding the best solutions, have resilience, and able to be independent. I notice one thing: people nowadays, especially students, they can come to you and say, "Sir, you did this wrongly. I need this to be fixed, so please do something. If not, I will leave your organization or I will say something on the social media." Tough. So it's not easy to handle all this pressure. We have enough pressure trying to turn in profits year after year, paying dividends. Like few CEOs that I have here today, they are very good at paying dividends to Terengganu Incorporated, but the challenges are plenty. Lastly, I again thank you, the organizing committee, once more for the honor of launching this TeMIC 2023. I'm full with confidence that with the past track records, this latest edition will be equally successful in attracting a very good number of participants and, more importantly, better qualities of publication. With the recitation of the grand kalimah Bismillahirrahmanirrahim and seeking the blessing of Allah Subhanahu wa Taala, I am pleased to officially launch TeMIC 2023 Terengganu Multidisciplinary International Conference 2023. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Mr. Burhanuddin Hilmi, for the speech. Please remain on the stage for the opening ceremony session. We invite together on stage Rector UiTM Cawangan Terengganu and Deputy Rector of Academic Affairs to join Mr. Burhanuddin Hilmi on stage for the opening ceremony gimmick of TeMIC 2023. Thank you, Mr. Burhanuddin Hilmi, Rector and Deputy Rector of Academic Affairs, UiTM Cawangan Terengganu. Please return to your seat. Thank you to all our honorable guests on the launch of TeMIC 2023. We are inspired and ready to embark on this exciting journey of multidisciplinary explorations and collaborations. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests and esteemed scholars, we are honored to have a special guest with us today who will be sharing insight in our upcoming plenary session. I kindly request your attention as we invite again Mr. Burhanuddin Hilmi bin Mohammed Elias Harun, President and Executive Director of Terengganu Incorporated, to join us on stage for the plenary session.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. It's me again. Ni kena bayar 2 kali ni, Prof ni naik 2 kali ni, dia cannot be one payment for 2 sessions. Just joking, tak apa. Alhamdulillah, I think I'm very pleased to be here again, as I expressed just now. I think what I will try to do is to really see the operationalization of sustainability and also IR 4.0. Whatever being discussed or being researched at university level, papers and everything, in the end, the one who's actually benefiting will be the people like us. So I will be showing what Terengganu Incorporated is and also what we are doing in terms of these 2 subject matters. Ni nak cari the slide kat sini ya. Depan. Okay. So this is Terengganu Incorporated. I think we need to understand that we are actually a strategic investment arm of the state of Terengganu. We have to see ourselves as a big company. We are, if it's actually in Johor, will be the Jacob Group. And if it's actually the National Railway, will be a Khazanah Group. So it's actually a big organization. I sometimes do not tell Tan Sri Azman Mokhtar. I did sometimes say to my so-called my team, kerja dekat TI ni lagi banyak daripada kerja kat Khazanah. I think it's because of the industries that we are in. We are actually having 9 business lines that we do with an income of 2 billion. Size-wise, we can never match Khazanah National. In terms of significance, in terms of dividends to the country also, we won't be able to match Khazanah. But in terms of areas of industries, we are actually doing a lot of businesses. So the most important thing is for us to be the prominent strategic investment arm that delivers sustainable value for Terengganu. Our tagline is actually harnessing investments for the rakyat. So whatever we do, we are actually, this is our role. We are the strategic investors. We advise the government and we build the capacity. So if you can see, I will show a little bit about TI just to have the perspective of who we are. This is our businesses. We have 7 business clusters. We have 9 lines of businesses. If you see, we are the biggest palm oil planters in Terengganu, more than 100,000 acres. We have 5 hospitals in Terengganu and states in 5 other locations. And recently we acquired Hospital Bersalin Razif in Klang. So that is now under our stable. I think it's been disclosed, it's been announced already, right, Encik Ashman? Yeah, I can't simply announce because it's a listed company. So we spent about 15 million ringgit to actually acquire 100% shares of Hospital Bersalin Razif. So we actually take care of the water distribution. Cik Karim is the CEO of Satu. Actually, anything you touch in Terengganu, you'll be touching somehow Terengganu Incorporated stable. Kalau tak ada air keruh, sila jumpa Cik Karim. Jangan jumpa saya lah. So that's to see how much. So like you go through the drawbridge is actually under our management. We took care of the drawbridge as well. We are very strong in tourism. Permai is ours. Primula is also under Terengganu Inc. So kalau tak puas hati dengan Permai hari ini, boleh cakap lah, kita boleh betulkan. But I think what we are doing now is to spruce up this place. We are spending many millions of ringgit. This is a very old building, very old facility, but we are having a program to bring this company or this level of service to a higher stage. Come on. Yeah, okay. This is a snapshot of what we are. You can see that we have 50 outlets of chicken. This is basically Terengganu Inc. at a glance. That's the kind of facility that we have. We are even a radio broadcaster. So it's not easy managing. If you are in strategic management classes or you research on strategic steps and everything. 9 industries, 9 sets. I cannot give like maybe Petronas have everything oil and gas. Maybe they now have renewable energy, which is a bit different. But their business having similar or equitable risk. Unlike us, when we have palm oil, the price goes up, the price goes down, fertilizer goes up. But our logging industry doesn't face all this problem. So you cannot have one session and everybody just talk about the risk of the business and everything is done. I have to repeat that 9 times. So that's how difficult it is managing such a conglomerate, so to speak. So we have more than 400 beds of hospital beds is coming up again. So we are targeting about 1,000 beds by the time 2028 or 2027. See the battery kan? Okay, sekejap ya. Tak boleh ya? Can you just control this? Yeah, go back one slide, please. One more. One more, please. One more. Okay, satu lagi. Satu lagi. Banyak pula tu. Satu lagi. Bear with me ya. Don't worry. Banyaknya saya tekan, Mai. Next, please. Ke belakang lagi, Mai. Lagi. Ya, sama. One more. Boleh. I kena letak juga slide ni nak cakap Arab sikit ni. So nanti kan orang tak nampak, tak tahu saya boleh cakap Arab ke apa. I kena behave my professor is here today. This is what we call a presentation glitch. I think this is the slide. I'm trying to I'm recognizing my team who's been working so hard to prepare this slide. In fact, we have this slide, but they are putting it together for me. Roslan, Muzaffar, Salimi, Mutiara, Ahmad Afifi, and Amalina, just to recognize my team who's been working so hard to get these slides out. This is to show, we just learned about ESG last year actually. But I think I would say the level of competency for my staff doing their own research is actually at this level. So it's how you push the staff to make sure that we can get a very good results. Okay, I think I got it now. This is the highlight last year. Sustainability, we actually signed an MOU with Terengganu Inc. and with TNB Genco. That's actually a very big event for us. This is a floating solar in Tasik Kenyir. We are talking about 600 to 1,000 megawatt would be one of the biggest one location solar powered source. So inshallah that is going to be a very big project bringing a lot of economic benefits to Terengganu. In fact, for the state, Terengganu wanting to be the champion for RE. As we speak, we are trying to identify another 5,000 acres of land. This one is inland to actually sell to Singapore. The government has actually allowed or in the midst of allowing that export can be exported to other countries. So we signed this in April last year. When we look at Maqasid Syariah, then we see the goals and everything. So faith, life, intellect, lineage, and wealth. We see this together with SDG and also ESG. It doesn't part any. I mean, like it's about the same thing. It's how you look at it, how you arrange it. But basically the objectives are the same. The sustainability agenda, ESG, everybody knows, but the small point there, towards a 35% RE capacity, that's actually what we are actually trying to look at. I think the government has about 50% target, but we do 35%. This is the framework. I will not dwell too much on this one, but just to say that we actually consulted with UNDP as well in looking at our framework. Dia kat mana dia punya tu? Sana. Depan sana tu. Jauh sangat patut pun. Okay. This is to show, whenever you do certain activities, the most important thing is to get the buy-in from the board's level. So in Terengganu Inc., what we have done, we actually having all this structure. So you see from the EWC affiliate that we have, going up, we have the ESG working committee at the I level. And then we have, I will be staying there as part of the facilitating the process. And then we report to the board governance, risk and governance committee. This is newly named committee. It used to be just the board governance and risk. But now we are putting the importance, significance to the board level. In the end, it will go to the board of Terengganu Inc., which is chaired by Yang Berhormat Datuk Seri Menteri Besar. And at the same time, whatever we do, we are going to make sure that we understand or we work around what the government strategy is. Next, please. This is to show we have two listed companies in the group. We have TDM and also Gordon Ferros. They have their own sustainability participation as well. Being listed co, we already met a lot of conditions to be sustainable in terms of our reporting, in terms of our activities. So the two companies that we have, next please. GP Gordon Ferros as well is one of the companies that we actually have done a lot to make sure that we are a sustainable group. Next, please. So it goes back to next. So it's the, tak apalah, asalkan we understand what's happening. So in the end, if you see this UNDP slide, when we met UNDP, we were quite surprised actually, because we have never looked at it in this manner. So when it was presented by UNDP, then we agreed that we are already at the sustainable impact investing. We basically have met the two steps. So we are going into thematic impact investing. So we are going to use the word investing. And I'm going to demonstrate to you what Terengganu Inc. is doing to achieve all this. So if you can see, like Sustainable impact investing, they say carbon footprint, where we are looking at resource use, waste reduction, compensation, product safety, and gender equality. We have that. So in the end, we have 3 or 4 slides that to show how do we map ourselves in the SDG. One exercise in the corporate world or in the companies, we always map ourselves against whatever theories or whatever blueprints, whatever policies, because that's the best way to actually understand where you are. And we have done that. So we quickly come up with this so-called mapping. Then inshallah, when we go into thematic impact investing, we are talking about climate change, population growth, urbanization, water scarcity. So it's even all those areas are within our purview, and also food system. In fact, we are already crossing into thematic impact investing because Terengganu, one of the policy is the food security. So we are looking at a lot of ideas and a lot of crops as well. We are looking at it just to make sure that we understand our role in the food security system. Next, please. This is a snapshot of what we have done. So this is a reporting to the board at every board meeting. So it's very simple, but I think if you can see that these are the achievements of TI Group in sustainability. So you can see, I will go further, I will go more detail later, but we have 6 megawatt of biogas plant in our plantation, palm oil plantation. We already have 2-3 plants actually having the biogas installed. And then we have the solar rooftop. We are doing a lot of solar rooftop. And then if you can see the top right, 173,220 trees. We are planting trees as well. So there are so many activities that we do. We have solar farm. If you can see the environment, there is a MSPO and RSPO. Those are all towards sustainability. In the social, you can see in the social segment, we actually even have a construction of 293 units of low-cost housing in Terengganu. So we participated in that as well. And employees, gender inclusivity across the group. So we have 28% now. So we even monitor this figure as well, because we want to give an equal opportunity. At least at the TI level, company level, we have about 70 people. It's already 52% female and 48% male. It's changing now rapidly, and I've attended so many university programs. It's actually 80-20. 80 men, 80 female and 20 men. Nak jadi benda tau men ni 20 ni. But people may not like my joke, but in one of the sessions I said, see, God make it, the ratio is correct. Do you understand what I'm saying? Orang Terengganu faham benda-benda macam ni, orang luar susah sikit nak faham ke. But what I meant is actually 80-20. 2 sessions I went to Petronas Bootcamp, also recently to UITM, is 80 women against 20 men. So the competition is actually at the women side lah. Men relax je sekarang ni, dia tunggu je lah nak macam mana. The numbers is they have the small number. But I think what we are doing, we're trying to make sure that everybody is given an equal share. Somebody asked me, macam mana ni orang perempuan dah ramai more than the men. I said, you can't help it. It will happen. The number matters. So even if you are so strong, but if you are, 80 against 20, 80 would rule. So I'm not surprised, very soon, CEO TI ke, CEO TDM Plantation, CEO 1, the number is just there. It's the resilience, it's the strength, it's the mental strength, it's playing the right card, be aggressive a little, so maybe that's the way forward. But I believe when there are more women in the high positions, there'll be a lot of technology improvement, I believe, because you need to somehow compensate the strength of men. In the end, men have certain strength, but there will be change as well. That's why IR 4.0 ke, ChatGPT ke, all those things. And of course, some work area or professions will be out of date. So some accountants may be out of date when ChatGPT or AI can just enter the double entry and whatnot. So be careful. But coming to governance, you can see that we have Sharia Committee, and we also follow MCCG very, very closely. We know what we do not adopt or adapt for certain practical reasons. Next, please. So the recent impact investing projects that we done, next, please. So if you notice at Primula, there is already a so-called the proper functioning solar panel at the rooftop. We look at it very simple. One is for the environment. For us, the cost, like the moment you can save 120,000 ringgit a year, that is a lot of money already. Given that Primula has certain 1 or 2 million profits, when you can actually reduce the cost by about 200,000, it means a lot. Not only for the environment. So that's why in Terengganu Inc. Group, the motto or the general instruction is everybody need to solarize their rooftop. As simple as that. So we can get 3 megawatt easily or 6 megawatt. So we know we have the plan already. In fact, Satu is going to be solarize their rooftop as well at a very significant cost. But the return is huge, 17%. Kalau 17%, you put 10 million in, you basically save about 1.7 million a year. That is a lot of money. And we also have Gordon Ferros Group, about 445 kilowatt. And what we are tracking, I'm just to show what we do here, we are tracking even the savings, the so-called the carbon footprint. So you see the number, we see 380 annual CO2 avoidance, 268 TCO2e annual CO2 avoidance. So we are even doing that, not only cost, but also we are looking at what benefit does it bring to the state and the area that we live in. So Terengganu Inc. will make sure that the climate in Terengganu is getting better and better so that people can come and stay here. By the way, people do not mind coming back to Terengganu nowadays. I think. I spoke to some Gen Z also. Because Gen Z ni kalau kata if they go to the beach and anything, they like to have their, videos taken. So that is very important to them. Some of them say if my salary is 5,000 in KL, but if I earn in Terengganu 3,000, they are willing to come back. It's a luxury that is different from material luxury. I have my own rule, 20 minutes rule. I want to go to the airport, 20 minutes. I want to go to work, 20 minutes. I want to go dining, 20 minutes. That is a lot of luxury. I work in KL my whole life. Sejam setengah pun tak sampai lagi office. That kind of thing. So that is a luxury being defined differently by the new generation. Next, please. And then this is also biogas plant in TDM. So we have about 4 megawatt biogas plant. The cost of investment is 38 million. And then the amount of 11,200 avoidance of annual TCO2e. So you can see these are all, maybe you seen it in your classroom and everything, but at TR we are already doing this effect to the society, effect to the environment. Next, please. And also in Ladang Rakyat Terengganu, we have the biogas plant as well, 2 megawatt, 18 million. Next, please. Also biohumus plant. So the knowledge I want to share today is that when you have a palm oil plantation, the palm actually from A to Z, everything you can use to generate money. So when we have a biohumus plant, the wastage when they process at the mill, all the wastage being kept in the pool, so to speak. So all this waste actually being dug up again and put into the plant and becomes a fertilizer. Okay? So if you see plantation or palm oil company, they are actually having 5 or 6 revenue lines or revenue sources. It's not only just selling the palm oil or crude palm oil. So there's a lot of other ways to make money. In the end, everything is actually money-based. Like orang Terengganu makan ikan lah, makan ikan kan. Terengganu people eat everything. Daripada kepala sampai kepada ekor. Sebab tu kat sini ikan celup tepung tu laku. Kepala pun dia makan. Kalau orang Terengganu tahu lah, dia mamoh, orang Terengganu tahu. But if you go to the UK, you go to England ke apa semua tu, dia fillet je, dia slice. My friend used to be there, is a professor jugalah my friend ni. So dia pergi dekat Liverpool, so dia pergi dekat the port lah where the fishermen came and dock. So dia pergi, okay, dia datang je, orang tu cakap, okay, there, go and take it there. Tahu pergi ambil apa? Pergi ambil kepala ikan. Dia buang dalam tong sampah tu. Kepala ikan yang kita makan kari kepala ikan tu, orang putih mana reti makan that kan. So the question from the fisherman to my friend is, sir, how many dogs do you have at home? Dia tak faham Maknanya dia ingat we took the kepala ikan to feed the dogs at home. Tapi kawan ni panggil satu kampung Malaysians to come and enjoy the kari kepala ikan that he cooked. But you see how things are different from one place to another. But you can see the production of per year is 20,000 metric ton of humus. That's his fertilizer. To basically augment the fact about sustainability, one of our responsibility by producing the humus at our own cost is to give the humus or the fertilizer at a heavily discounted price to the locals. So it's not something we just do so that we benefit, but we basically hit 2-3 prongs in one activity. So we are actually KPIing ourselves to make sure that all the rakyat who's supposed to get, if a kilo of that sold in the market at 8 ringgit, we're going to sell to them at 4 ringgit. So we can see the changes that we do by having all this sustainability. Next, please. So we are doing coconut farming as well. So sustainability, food security, they are all hand in hand, by the way. So Terengganu produce a lot of watermelon. So if anybody who wants to come and farm in Terengganu, do not plant watermelon. It's too much already. But we can still do chili. We can still do sweet potato and coconut. And then there's so many things inside coconut. There are so many types of coconuts, coconut pandan, coconut mata, and everything. So it's not as simple as that. But we are coming up with about 1,000 acres as a food security initiative as well, and also for a new income stream, not only for the palm oil. Next, please. So this is our commitment, target 2025. Installed capacity by 30 to go to 35%. So you can see how we are tracking this. I think in companies, we are good at tracking things because that's the only thing that's the only way for us to know whether what we do making sense, making returns, or maybe we can just kill it off. We can just do that. That's why I think maybe part of the way that corporate works, that we basically, when we invest something, we do something, we know what the returns are, we know when to stop. So this one is not stopping. We are going to be tracking this. So as it is now, as at last year, we are already at 28% renewable energy. So in the end, we're going to be higher than that. We know that the target is only 35%, but we are not surprised that we are going to go 50% very soon. The solarization of the rooftop is very easy and very quick to produce the results. Next, please. In the pipeline, we are very much in, next, please. So these are, can go next, please? Sorry. Next. We are doing EV charging station now in Kuala Terengganu. So, you know, it's not an easy decision because it's always like chicken and egg, bukan cat and dogs. Chicken and egg situation, right? So when we did this study, so we wanted a data, right? How many electric cars in Terengganu? I don't know, maybe 1 or 2, but we can't find them, you know? And the other part why it's not easy to have an EV station in Kuala Terengganu, because like I said, the 20-minute rule, right? 20-minute rule, you go anywhere, you are 20-minute rule. Maybe you spend about 30 kilometers. So the car is actually 400 kilometers capability or capacity with one charging of the battery. So they just go home and charge because you do not use that far, right? But so how do we do this? Do we still invest in EV charging station? We do at a loss. So we basically tell the board, we're going to spend about 1.5 million ringgit. It's going to go down the drain. But what is important is we do it so that we basically embrace the technology. You have to. So when a company like TI Group, because we are responsible to the state, so we took the losses. So 1 million, 1.5 million, we know we're going to lose the money. Auditors come in at year end, oh, impaired. It doesn't make money, it's true. So that was a very conscious decision made by the board even, to agree that we should invest in this even though we know that it's going to be losing money. We are looking at, ni the CEOs ni seronok lah ni, dapat kereta EV ke apa semua one day. But we are looking at that, especially like plantation, because we have so many trucks, lorries and everything. So we are going to see whether we can change all those into EV. So Gentari is very strong in this. So we are working with Gentari to see whether some of our vehicles can be changed into EV and also some of the state vehicles as well. Next, please. If you want to buy, if you want to use an iX, tahu kan yang BMW iX4. So you have 7,000 a month, you have to pay, but they will pay everything for you. Ni I'm promoting Gentari lah. Even the wheels, the tires, they will change, they will maintain it for you. But you paid 7,000 flat a month for 9 years. No hassle. Tapi 7,000 lah. So sini mostly earning 20-30,000, boleh lah kat sini. I mentioned about floating solar. Next, please. And also we are looking at this recovery facility and biogas as well. So this also to show about the sampah, the solid waste. We are looking at that as well. So they even have, we were presented recently for the solid waste management. They call it TeMIC. Sorry, thermomatic or something like that. But if you understand, orang engineers ada lah, they actually burn it inside an autoclave. I think you all tahu autoclave kan? Autoclave ni tempat masak lah. Kalau you ada some product from composites and whatnot, then you put inside there to cure it, and then it becomes a very high strength material. So they are putting into there, so they will come out with fertilizer as well. So that is a very new technology. It's from Spain, and I think Ipoh actually looking at it to actually start that process. Next, please. Carbon trading. This is still a very sore issue between state and federal because there is not yet one policy proper to guide this. So Terengganu has, by the way, Terengganu is the state that is blessed with nature, right? So we have a forest reserve, about 50% of Terengganu is forest reserve. So that's another challenge for us, business side, to actually come up, because whenever you want to take forest reserve land, you have to replace it with another land. So, but we are doing carbon trading exploration at Kenyir, so about 30,000 hectares. We're going to see how much we can generate. There is also an alternative income for the state. Next, please. Ground-mounted solar, I mentioned to you. So we are looking at for 5,000 acres land. So you see the arithmetic or the math is very simple. If you rent out 5,000 acres to a company to produce a solar, the rental alone is about 7 to 8 million ringgit a year. And then when you rent, you basically just got the money, you don't do anything. And solar as well, when they even have the 5,000 acres, maybe about 50 people working, you do not have not much of so-called efforts to actually manage a solar panel, solar farm. The good thing about this 5,000 that we're talking about, if you follow sustainability route, we are going to introduce a battery system. Okay. Sometimes people say, you no daylight, no sunlight, then you cannot produce. But for this facility, they're gonna basically store the power in a battery for about 6 hours. So that is brand new. I listened to a presentation by the governor of, I think, Western Australia or something like that. They're actually very strong in all this. So they have a battery system. I think we are just talking about solar power, solar panel, but we never talk about solar storage, power storage. So now with the power storage capability, like we are planning for this one, this basically it. But the investment is going to be billions. We are not talking about small investment, but the ROI is going to be about maybe 5 to 6 years, and then they enjoy the profits for about 15 years. Next, please. And I want to speak about fourth IR. Just to show, even though we are doing all this, you can see that since our business is variety of business that we have, you can see there, if you talk about healthcare, so you can see that in the healthcare, we are looking at the medical records and business analytical software. We can do that. So we basically have all those in the forestry, in the ports and logistics, natural resources, smart building, and also plantation. So I can tell you that some of them is still at the planning stage. We're still looking at the data. Of course, in business, we look at the data first before we start investing. But I think if you can see that in the plantation even, you have the precision agriculture GPS analytical system. I was told the technology is going to be like if the drone flies over the plantation, they can tell the color of the down or the leaf of the palm oil, so they can tell that it's actually lacking in fertilizer. So you see, you don't have to go there, so you can actually spot the areas whereby you can choose where to go. So can you imagine the kind of savings that we have? And fertilization also, of course, this is my wish, is going to be drone as well. So there's no longer somebody coming to do the fertilization process. So there's a lot of things that we need to do. But by doing that, we're actually managing the sustainability very well. So in terms of the smart building, we're coming up with Menara TI, hopefully in the next 2 years. So it's going to be all the green building technology. And we can see that even in the Kemaman port and logistics is on the right there. We actually coming up, we participate in the Malaysian Maritime Single Window MMSW. So if you can see, I'm going point by point to show what Terengganu Inc. Group is actually doing to actually support the sustainability and IR 4.0. Next, please. So this is my last section of the presentation. When I say we do SDG mapping, so when you get something from United Nations Development, so actually there are 17 items. So for the group, you can see, if we go into goal number 1, I'm not going to go through every one, but I just want to show you the rightmost column. What I'm showing to you is that every one of them having our status and what we are doing and what we plan to do. So that's why I said we are very much there from the SDG 17 factors. We actually touch on every one of them, meaning to say it relates to us very, very, it's very relatable to us. What we do, actually all part of the SDG. So I would say, that's why I said we are going into thematic now to make sure that we can actually go into something more beneficial to the state and to the country. So if you see number 2, you can see we have MSPO and RSPO. And then we have FSC certified for forestry. So while we are doing logging, we are very responsible logging company. We have about 100,000 hectares of logging area, but we only log 1,900 only. And you have to understand, when we actually log or fall the timber, we're going to replant the area. So it's very, very sustainable. So that's why our product mostly has a premium, because we actually doing all this sustainability. So I think maybe we can learn, maybe if the university wanted to learn how do we do all this, because we are governed by a lot of standards by overseas. Next, please. So number 4, we actually do the quality education. So at TI Group, we actually give 500,000 a year for scholarship for the students from Terengganu. There'll be local students from UAE and everywhere. And then we, 10 students per year, and then we give every year 500,000. And inshallah, it will go up to 1 million very soon. So the CEOs will be glad, oh, now 1 million, they have to give more money to the program. But it's a money well spent. We are very happy to see the process of looking for the candidates. And I can tell you, locally, Terengganu boys and girls are very, very clever. Maybe too much of keropok and omega-3 and everything like that. But when we actually interviewed them from matriculation, right? We are talking about 3.8, 3.9, and 4.0 students, B40. Some exceptions, but we were very, very impressed with that. So the moment we do that, so we can see that we are actually contributing to the state by nurturing all these boys and girls, so that one day they'll be working with TI. We select the course, then they'll be coming back to TI. I mentioned about gender equality. So even at least in my company level, we are about 50% head of departments are like from women and men. It's actually about the same number. So the very, very good, important is that for people to know that you basically will not be penalized for being a woman, but if you perform, you can actually do well. And I'm happy to note that 3 of my HOD is UiTM alumni lah. Kena tepuk sikit lah. Sebut nama sikit lah. Encik Lokman ujung sana, finance. Puan Suri is actually from corporate strategic com. And then I think if we go to number 7, we talk about the solar and everything. So that's a part of what we do. Decent work and economic growth. We are looking at the 30% of the project development works to the local contractors in Terengganu. So you see dekat TI ni, we kind of statistic freak lah, because we use that as our way forward, if our what to do. So I can even tell you that how much contract is given to the local Terengganu contractors by TI Group. We can even do that. We report it every quarter. So the board knows the number. So we can straight away say, like some company, because of the nature of their work, they actually give 80% to outside Terengganu companies, 20% to the local Terengganu. So we will look into areas like that to make sure that we try to change it, to make sure that more Terengganu people are going to be benefit from that. We obviously, being state investment company, we're going to be biased to Terengganu. Our people also mostly Terengganu. Of course, when you have Terengganu birth certs and whatnot, it makes a difference. But it doesn't mean that we do not accept people from outside. But I can see now we have more people trying to come in, even from non-Terengganu and as well. So, but you need to give them a proper place for them to work, because they do not know that we are becoming sophisticated. We are a very well-managed company, so we have so many businesses. Then with that, they can actually come and learn and also work, contribute to the state of Terengganu. Next, please. So I think I go to the number 1, so number 11, sorry, then we also built houses for the Rumah Mampu Milik. Then we actually help the community as well. Next, please. The climate action, we are talking about adoption of all those proper SDG or ESG, MSPO, RSPO, FSC, and IMO. Everything is there, you name it, we are actually part of it. And then we have even SDG Goal 14, conserve and sustainably use the ocean, seas, and marine resources for sustainable development. Like Kemaman Port is doing the oil containment boom policy, and River of Life, river cleanliness and anti-pollution water system discharge. In fact, TDM, we actually give, provided about 627 acres of land for this project as well. I think those are the 17, the mapping that we've done. Promote the peaceful societies, and SDG Goal 17 is on the partnership for the goals. Those are my slides, but I think the most important thing that I really want to impart today is the fact that being in Terengganu, we are very much in sync or in tandem with what the market want, what the United Nations want, what the country wants. So we are very much in the process. And the most important thing, we got to drive it. Driving something, private sector will be able to drive it better compared to the system in the government. So we are taking this as a very serious matter for us. So whenever we have the opportunity, we will do it. Cost will go up a little bit in the beginning, but it will pare down. And then in the end, it will give all the benefits to us. But I think we take care of the environment. I believe environment will take care of us. And I think it's very much maqasid syariah tadi tu. You cannot run away from that. When you do good, good will come back to you. Even for us, we spend CSR activity in Terengganu, 12 million ringgit a year. That's the I group. We are very proud of that. Some CEOs will go, boleh kurang sikit tak? Boleh kurang sikit tak? But the nature is when we actually spend the money for the good cause. We have scholarship, we spend a lot on sports, we spend on surau, we spend on orang miskin. And this year I think, we spent 700,000 for himpunan ibu tunggal. So, ramai tepuk tu. No, what I meant is kita very, very open when we see opportunity and we see the need. So we give money to UNIZA, we give money to UMT, and nanti UITM minta juga tu. So that kind of, all the programs are there. And inshallah, in fact, with INCF also under Prof. Dato', we also doing a program with the master students. They are doing the research on, I think on some of the hotel practices. So we are doing 2 areas there. So we having doing all those things. So all the money that we spend is well spent, and inshallah I think in the end business ni, however much you do pun, there's one word, the so-called keberkatan lah. So we have to be fair. We know that when we do things like this, inshallah the goodness will come back to us lah. With that, I thank you for your attention. I hope we have learned something today, and inshallah we'll meet again. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Mr. Burhanuddin Hilmi, for gracing us with your presence and sharing session. The program now invite Rector of UiTM Cawangan Terengganu, Professor Technologist Dr. Mazida Puteh, accompanied by the Deputy Rector of Academic Affairs, Associate Professor Technologist Dr. Sarifah Fauzia Sheikh Deraman, to be on stage to deliver a souvenir to Strategic and Platinum Partner of TeMIC 2023. Please welcome to the stage TeMIC 2023 Strategic Partner, Vis Global Sendirian Berhad. followed by Perbadanan Tabung Pendidikan Tinggi Nasional (PT-PTN). Next, Permai Hotel. Next, please welcome to the stage TeMIC 2023 Platinum Partner, Terengganu Incorporated, which will be represented by Mr. Burhanuddin Hilmi bin Mohammed Elias Harun, President and Executive Director of Terengganu Incorporated. The event will also honorably deliver a souvenir to Mr. Burhanuddin Hilmi for his role in the launch of TeMIC 2023 just now. Thank you, Professor Technologist Dr. Mazira Putih and Associate Professor Technologist Dr. Sarifah Fauzia Sheikh Deraman. On behalf of the TeMIC 2023 committee, I would like to express our deep gratitude to all Platinum and strategic partners for your contributions and participations. We hope that this connection and collaboration will continue in the future. Now, I would like to pass the stage to our moderator for the next keynote session, who will guide us through another enriching segment of our conference. Please welcome Dr. Salinah Binti Ahmad, the Vice Chairman of International Muamalat Conference and Senior Lecturer, Academic of Contemporary Islamic Studies, ASIS, to take the lead. And thank you from me.
This is too high for me. Thank you, Dr. Safwan. I am nervous actually. Last night, I was sleeping, but then my husband, this morning, he was saying, I heard you, distinguished guests and ladies and gentlemen, in your sleep last night. So that's much this event meaningful to me and all of us, I suppose. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, honorable speakers, distinguished guests, participants, and students, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Salinah Ahmad. I'm from ASIS, Academy Pengajian Islam Contemporary, from Dungun, UiTM, Cawangan, Terengganu. And we will be together for about an hour or so. Therefore, I would like to invite all members of the floor to be ready to fixate your attention, mind, and soul to the next speech by our distinguished scholar, come practitioner in the field of economic policy and strategic planning, the Honorable Professor Dr. Muhammad Azmi bin Omar, the President and Chief Executive Officer of the Global University of Islamic Finance in SIF, Kuala Lumpur. Let us give a round of applause to our dear professor here. Welcome from Dato Thank you for making it with us today at this wonderful Dewan Berlian of Hotel Permai, Kuala Terengganu. And on behalf of the third Terengganu Multidisciplinary International Conference 2023 TeMIC, I welcome all professors, doctors, lecturers, presenters, and participants to the keynote address of the second International Muamalat Conference, IMEC 2023. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, let me begin with a short but concise biography of our distinguished speaker, Professor Dato. Professor Dato Dr. Muhammad Azmi Omar is the President and CEO at International Center for Education in Islamic Finance in SIF, the Global University of Islamic Finance since October 2017. Prior to his current position, he held the post of Director General, Islamic Research and Training Institute, ISDB, Islamic Development Bank Group, Jeddah. At IRTI, Professor Azmi pioneered and introduced many innovative policy research, which culminated in flagship reports such as IRTI Islamic Social Finance Report and IDB World Bank Global Report on Islamic Finance. Prof. Azmi has also advised and provided technical assistance in Islamic finance to several IDB member countries. He also holds the post of Vice President of the International Association for Islamic Economics, a member of the Board of Trustees of RFI Foundation. I believe it is Responsible Finance and Investment. And formerly a member of the External Advisory Group for the International Monetary Fund, IMF. Prof. Azmi was awarded the most outstanding individual contribution to Islamic finance in the Cliff Islamic Finance Awards 2015 and Lifetime Achievement Award in Islamic Economics and Finance at the third World Islamic Economics and Finance Conference, Pakistan in 2020. Wow. He has previously worked at the International Islamic University Malaysia as Deputy Rector, Academic and Research, Dean of Institute of Islamic Banking and Finance, and Dean of Faculty of Economics and Management Sciences. Professor Azmi holds a PhD in Finance and a holder of a Chartered Professional in Islamic Finance qualification. Concurrently, he is a member of the Sharia Advisory Council at Securities Commission Malaysia and a Sharia Committee member at Bank Rakyat Malaysia, Etika Takaful Malaysia, and MUFG Bank Malaysia. I believe this is Bank of Tokyo, Mitsubishi, and UFJ. Given his vast experience, he was appointed as an Islamic finance expert to the Brunei Darussalam Central Bank from 2018 to 2020. Recent consulting projects led Professor Azmi include the development of the Indonesia Sharia Islamic Economy Master Plan 2019-2024 for the government of Indonesia, and the Kazakhstan Islamic Finance Master Plan 2020-2025 for the Astana International Financial Center and the Republic of Kazakhstan. Honorable guests, ladies and gentlemen, with this, I would like to invite Professor Datuk Muhammad Azmi Omar to deliver his keynote speech entitled Heading to Islamic Finance Stability, Past, Current, and Future Progress. Without further ado, Professor Datuk, please welcome to the stage.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Assalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin. Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi washabihi ajma'in. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Okay. Tuan Haji Burhanuddin Hilmi bin Muhammad, President and Executive Director of Terengganu Incorporated. we have Professor TS Dr. Mazidah Putih, the Rector of UiTM Cawangan Terengganu, Deputy Rectors Dr. Sharifah Fauzia, Associate Professor Dr. Rosman, and of course, Dr. Salina, the moderator for this event. Let me begin by thanking the university for inviting me to give a keynote address on a very important topics of the Islamic finance. My background is that I have a combination of both academic as well as industry. I work both as an academic, and I'm also I'm one of the people who are involved in policy making and policy advice. I used to be going to Brunei every month as an advisor to the central bank on Islamic finance. And then when COVID came, it's good reason for me to stop because I cannot be traveling every month to Brunei. But subsequently, I still do. I advise countries on Islamic finance development. I'm an economist, not Sharia person, but I do get involved in the Sharia committees, giving the economics perspective. And of course, again, everywhere I go, most of them I would meet and say, people would come to me and say, Prof, I was your student before. Not only here, but also in Indonesia and in many other countries. But you know, being a young person, I always forget. Sometimes you remember the face, but not the name. Okay. So today we are going to look at the development of Islamic finance, and some of the things that I'm going to discuss will be in the context of the potential research that one can do, both as an academic staff as well as a student. Let me, is there a remote? Mana dah? The slides sudah ada ke belum? Can you get it up? And the other one is also, I mean, you notice that I wear batik for the simple reason, when I go to Indonesian are always proud of their batik. That's why I don't carry coat unless I go to Middle East, because I work in Middle East for 6 years, di Jeddah. I was there in Jeddah. In Middle East, GCC countries particularly, the suit is very important to them. Musim panas pun, 38 degrees, 45 degrees, 48 degrees, you kena pakai suit. That's in Saudi, GCC. Suit is very important to them. But Indonesia, they tend to use batik. So I also try to be, itulah. Ni kenapa ni? Okay. So my topic is basically on the context of the Islamic finance, past, current, and future. Okay, if you look at the development of Islamic finance, just to give you some brief perspective, the modern Islamic finance basically started with banking, 1975. Dubai Islamic Bank, as well as Islamic Development Bank, Jeddah, where I work there. So Islamic Development Bank is a development bank. What it does is that it provides financing to governments, to countries. Then under the Islamic Development Bank, there are subsidiaries that focus on helping companies. So we have subsidiaries that provide financing to companies. And then my role as a CEO of subsidiary, we focus on helping countries to implement Islamic finance. Contohnya, when a country wants to implement Islamic finance, we come in to advise the country how do we go about implementing Islamic finance. Let me tell you a real story. In 2000, after Gaddafi was killed, the government of Libya then wanted to overhaul the country by immediately converting everything into Sharia. Everything into Sharia, everything must be Islamic banking. So they came to IDB and we advised them not to do that. Because people are not prepared. You need to train people to have the right human capital before they can convert. because the failure of the bank can be seen as the failure of Islam in Libya. So the good thing is that the government agreed, and then there was a series of training program for Libyans before they can then convert their conventional bank into Islamic bank. Okay, so that kind of work that we did before. Today, if you look at today, we have more than 1,600 Islamic banks or Islamic financial institutions globally. We even have in South America. You cannot imagine, South America pun ada bank Islam. In Suriname in South America. Why Suriname? Because Suriname, it was under Dutch before, Belanda, and many Indonesians were brought in from Indonesia to Suriname as workers by the Dutch. So if you go to Suriname, you will see Dutch, orang Jawa speaking in Javanese in South America. You know, and that's unique in Suriname. And you have next door also Guyana. Guyana is also, you have a quite sizable Muslim population, and they are in the process of converting one conventional bank into an Islamic bank in Guyana. And Guyana is a rich country now because they have oil and gas. Okay. So today, we also have in Australia, Islamic Bank of Australia in 2022. Okay, some of the technical terms, systematically domestic important, I will not dwell because these are more technical for regulators. Okay. So Islamic banking products, if you look, so what I'm going to do next is to look at the Islamic banking, talk about the good things, and also talk about the negative things and what needs to be done in order to improve. See, when Islamic banks were set up, it was more towards providing alternative financing to Muslims, as well as alternative investment. So it was mainly in the context of mortgage, nak beli rumah, automobile, personal financing. And the contracts used are typically murabahah, ijarah, salam istisna, musyarakah, mudarabah. I'm not sure all of you knows the term, but these are, the typical Sharia principles used in Islamic banks. The focus, as I said, has always, at the beginning, focused on alternative financing, providing alternative to Muslims. But the question is that we look at, what is the purpose of Islamic finance? That is the key question that we need to ask. Of course, earlier on, we discussed about Maqasid al-Sharia, but I will dwell a bit more, elaborate a bit more. See, if you look at the principles of Islamic Sharia principles in Islamic economics and finance, what we want to do is to attain what we call the Maqasid al-Sharia. What we say, amal ma'ruf, nahi munkar. Okay? Prevention of harm. The first principle is, before we talk about benefit, you have to prevent harm. So prevention of harm first. In the fiqh awliyat, prevention of harm first, then attainment of benefit. That's the thing that we need to do. Okay? While we are doing that, it must be done in adil wal ihsan, justice and ihsan. In economics, we talk about there's no such thing as you get profit without taking risks. Of course, business takes risks. Do banks take risks or not? The answer is yes, to a certain extent. So any activity, profit must be together with taking risks. Secondly, money is a medium of exchange, which means that if you put money in a bank, you cannot get anything extra unless you take risks. Okay, risk, money by itself will not get you anything. In fact, it will lower your value. Why? Zakat. Okay, so that's the principle. And then, moderation is important in the context of how we develop our economic system. Okay, moderation. So balance wealth creation and wealth transfer in circulation. And finally, transparency and traceability. It must be transparent. That's why we want to, the basic principle, jual beli, it must be transparent. Any defect you have to declare. So these are part and parcel of the governing principles under Islamic economy. All of those governing principles, we must then translate into how we manage the economy. Okay, we need not call it Islam, but the principle must be incorporated in the way we do things. So if you look in the particular context quickly, Islamic finance has been growing very well globally. For example, last year alone, about 16% globally, even within COVID, the growth rate of Islamic finance. And now it's about $4 trillion at the end of 2021, 2022, expected to be about $6 trillion in 2026. Big growth. Breakdown-wise, banking is the highest proportion. So Islamic banking is everywhere. Why? Providing alternative. Secondly is Suku. Suku is about $713 billion. Okay, Suku. Suku is, some of you know this. Suku is basically, okay lah, in simple term, bonds lah, Islamic bonds, in simple terms. And the word Suku comes from the word sak. And that's how the word check comes from. You know that? Kalau nak relate balik, Ibn Battuta, when he travel from Morocco to China, takkanlah you nak travel that time you carry gold coins kan? Very risky. So what he did was he carried a traveler's check. So you read back, Rihlah Ibn Battuta, he carried check. Sak tu. So he cash that check whenever he goes to one city. From the word sak became suku, and then of course check. So if you trace back. So if we look at the breakdown, again quickly, you would see that apart from GCC countries, Southeast Asia is the strongest in Islamic finance. Southeast Asia meaning Malaysia dengan Indonesia. I work with Indonesia a lot, as I mentioned to some friends last night. I've been going to Indonesia since 1998. First as visiting professor. Are there Indonesians here today? Ada kan? I'm sure ada kan? I was telling also a joke last night. You know, in English we call it visiting professor. In Malay we call it professor pelawat. In Indonesia they call it dosen terbang. Dosen terbang. That is a visiting professor. I came to know in 1998 when they appointed me and baca surat dosen terbang. Okay. Such a new term. But you find that the development of Islamic finance in Indonesia is very exciting. Why? Because they have expanded Islamic finance, including zakat, wakaf, and sadaqah. If you study finance, banking, capital market, sukuk, funds, Malaysia is strong. But if you look in the context of zakat, wakaf, Indonesia is very strong. Even better than Malaysia. Okay, and I will show you one example later on, how they use capital market for wakaf purposes. Okay, that's a very interesting model that we can learn. So, as I said, in the GCC countries, it's mainly Saudi, Bahrain, Dubai, Qatar. These are strong Islamic finance. And Southeast Asia, Malaysia, Indonesia, and Brunei. And then the rest of the world. Just a bit of information, you will see that the growth is about, as I said, nearly 17%. Sharia governance being mentioned earlier on. Malaysia has, Indonesia has Sharia governance, and many other countries has Sharia governance for their financial institutions. On top of that, we talked earlier on about sustainability. We have a lot of sukuk being issued for the purpose of sustainability. Okay, for example, today you have about $16 billion issued on sukuk. Okay, $16 billion. Islamic funds, $7.5 billion on sustainability Islamic funds. Countries that have sustainability guidelines, 41 countries, out of the 57 or now 58 OIC countries. Okay, so quite a big number. Also, in this particular context, the number of, for example, education providers on Islamic economics and finance, 880 institutions. Dia dah lari sikit sini. Okay, let me just go because knowing the timing, okay. See, one of the challenge that we see today in the context of challenges in Islamic finance is that there is the market penetration. Market penetration means that Islamic finance is still not widespread. It is still in the context of the middle class and upper. The issue of poverty has not really been addressed. The issue of getting the poor people into the financial sector has not really been addressed. In Malaysia, yes. In Malaysia, you see that more than 95% of Malaysians have bank accounts. What we call in the terminology of the World Bank, the financial inclusion in Malaysia is not an issue. More than 95% of Malaysians have bank account. But the question is the quality of having that bank account, how you use it, whether you have the money or not. Those are the issues in Malaysia. In other countries, the issue is not having a bank account altogether. Just imagine, for example, Indonesia, the country is so huge. And because small islands, it's not possible for everyone to have a bank account. Just imagine, if the government wants to help, how do you help a person? You cannot be sending money to small islands. So you need to use technology. So technology is very important. Therefore, the role of digitalization comes to the front. So how do you, as a country, as central bank, or even as companies, help to address this SDG? Using technology, using digitalization. Okay, and there are issues related to that. Suku, I would not go into that. The goal of Islamic finance, what we saw based on Maqasid al-Sharia, is still not reachable yet. As I mentioned, Islamic banks still focusing more for the middle class and the upper class. The bottom has yet to realize that. So these are issues that must be addressed. And the focus is also on consumer financing and what we call, economists call financialization. Too much debt in the economy. Too much debt. How do we reduce debt? Let me show you the example. And also finally here, replication. People do not see much difference between Islamic bank and conventional bank. So that must be addressed as well. Okay, it's bukan hanya halal ayam sembelih dengan ayam tak sembelih. It must be beyond that. So that's why the work would be to develop the Maqasid al-Sharia to show the true beauty of Islamic finance, Islamic economy. Let me show you some example here, the issue that we are concerned with as economists. We see in Malaysia too much debt. Hutang terlampau banyak, too much debt if you look. 90%, almost 90%. And most of this debt, these are household debt, Most of this debt are for personal consumption. Okay, satu, to buy properties. Okay, properties at least an investment. The rest, beli kereta, personal use, credit cards. And worse now, studies, I think I would suggest studies on the scheme of buy now, pay later, which is even worse. Make young people become bankrupt easily. Okay, the buy now, pay scheme. Although they have the Sharia compliant version, but still hutang is an hutang. No such thing as Sharia compliant, buy now, pay later, you tak bayar. You still have to pay. So that's a major issue. And Bank Negara is also trying to address that issue now, to put out regulations. Indonesia is also coming out with that. Brunei is also coming out with that. And continue that, our financial system debt is also very high. If you look, for example, if you compare countries, mungkin tak nampak sini, okay? You compare Malaysia debt, 153% of GDP, our debt, even higher than UK, even Thailand. Okay, what does it mean? If you look at the Sharia principle, yes, debt is allowed, hutang is allowed, but there are other approaches towards Sharia financing, which means that usage of risk sharing, mudarabah, musyarakah, dan sebagainya. Okay, so these are the principles that needs to be done, which means that as policy maker, government will need to think in terms of how do we then promote more risk-sharing principles, the mudarabah masyarakah, rather than just focusing purely on murabahah ijarah principles. So how do you create incentive? Sekarang ni not much incentive. If you take money, if we look at conventional or even murabahah, interest that we pay tax deductible. Betul. Interest that you pay tax deductible. But dividend that you get from equity financing, tak ada. So there is not much incentive. So again, tax incentive must be developed for that. As an example. Then you look at the size of debt has also increased. And this is a question that is worrying. Similarly, in this context, adoption of standards, regulation, as well as disruption of digital transformation. Here, the concern is that, as we know, banks are now moving towards digital transformation, and we have seen companies. But the question is, as we move towards technology, there are a couple of issues that we need to address. One issue is the issue of what I call financial inclusion and financial exclusion. What do I mean by that? Technology bagus, because why? People can get bank account through technology. But because kita pakai artificial intelligence, we use artificial intelligence, they will use that artificial intelligence to decide whether you are eligible for financing, whether you are eligible to get even a bank account. Already that's happening. Contohnya, in UK, many Muslims are not able to open a bank account, or even if they have bank account, they have opened a bank account, after a while, they are closed. Why? The artificial intelligence says that these individuals, Muslim, are quote-unquote potential risks. Therefore, their accounts are being closed. Okay? Usage of artificial intelligence. Another example. Have you heard a company called Deep Minds? Deep, D-E-E-P, M-I-N-D-S. Tak pernah dengar?
Deep fake adalah, Prof.
No. Deep Minds. And have you heard a guy by the name of Mustafa Sulaiman? No, okay, tak apalah. He is one of the co-founder of Deep Minds. This company, established in early 2000, they are the one that is behind the development of artificial intelligence in the world today. So kalau you tengok globally all the artificial intelligence, it goes back to this company. Okay, Deep Minds in UK. And 3 individuals, and one of them is a Muslim that established this company. This year, he wrote a book called The Coming Wave. The Coming Wave is a bestseller now, this book. And he talks about the concern about artificial intelligence. Okay? We always say technology, digitalization, people will be laid off. How do we handle that? You upskill. That's in theory. In practice, a lot of people will be laid off. In theory. I mean, in reality, many people will be, because many people at a certain age, they cannot be upskilled anymore. Upskilling is for the younger people. So how do you handle the old people? In Malaysia, we already have the aging society. More than the definition of aging society means that 7% of the population is above 60 and above. These are aging society. In Malaysia, our country becomes age society without becoming rich. That's also another major issue that we address. A lot of people now above 60 tapi tak ada income. How do we handle that as an Islamic economy, for example? So these are some of the things that, issues that needs to be discussed and propose solutions. Okay. So how do we resolve this issue, some of these issues? One of the key things that we need to look at is basically our basis for economic decision should not be based on utility, but based on objective of Sharia, maqasid al-Sharia. Okay, as the guiding principles, meaning that prevention harm, promoting benefit. And we have to go beyond, ini kawan-kawan saya di Syariah marah ni, beyond Syariah compliant. We have to go beyond halal. Halal saja tak cukup. Halal is just minimum requirement. We have to go beyond tayyib. Halal and tayyiban. And Quran talks about that. We have to go next level. Okay? So to me, for example, if an Islamic bank provides financing to a company itu tebang hutan, Syariah compliant, but destroying the environment. That's the component of tayyiban. So what means also Islamic banks need to incorporate ESG. What in Malaysia we call it value-based intermediation being done. But more and more must be done to implement that. When somebody gets personal financing from the bank, should bank provide if it is already, creating the country indebtedness? Syariah compliant, murabah financing, tawarruk financing. But the impact towards the society, environment is not positive. So those are things that needs to be addressed. An ethical principle. So let me just talk about this. Of course, this is shown earlier on, but let me talk about the argument to say that the current paradigm, yes, it means Sharia compliant, but it is not tayyib. So the focus should be focusing more on the tayyiban. And of course, the Quranic verses, I will not go into this. Okay. Then I will just skip this because of the time constraint. Let me talk about, finally, this one. See, one interesting aspect of Islamic finance is that we have the Islamic social finance. In conventional banking, they tidak guna. Most they use CSR. But in Islamic finance, zakat, wakaf, sadaqah are part and parcel of Islamic finance. Before, it was not. But the last few years, we have integrated that in Malaysia. So Islamic banks are active in promoting zakat and paying zakat, active in promoting wakaf. Okay? Why do we need to promote wakaf, zakat? Although, yes, we say that zakat, wakaf, these are religious injunction, I put the argument forward further by saying that it is a first and foremost very important and economic instrument. Zakat wakaf can address the issue of poverty alleviation if done properly and in a programmatic manner. Okay? Let me just show some examples here. And this is what we call blended finance. So what banks have done through the central bank, through Bank Negara, is what we call application of blended finance. Meaning that kita combine the normal commercial finance, zakat, wakaf, kita combine together. So this is called blended finance. And these are used to address, for example, poverty alleviation. And good example is the iTekat program, as an example. Okay, that is used, iTekat. Again, ini banyak explanation. I will not go into detail, the timing. Okay, this is the iTekat program. My Wakaf is also another initiative, very good, to develop Wakaf. For example, if you are aware, Wakaf Pulau Pinang is very successful model. They develop housing projects, gunakan tanah wakaf, and banks are providing financing. Okay. Let me just, okay. Another one is the wakaf using the unit trust fund model, the My Wakaf program. So this is another example that is done in Malaysia. Next model is corporate wakaf, of course, Wakaf An-Nur. Now we have Wakaf Felda. Last one, I want to stop here, but I best, given the time constraint. That is, Indonesia is, as I said, wakaf and zakat in Indonesia is much more advanced. They develop cash wakaf, link suku. They develop suku for wakaf purposes. Malaysia is now studying that model and trying to implement next year this suku for wakaf. How wakaf can be supported through the creation of suku. Okay, and the projects used to support hospitals, schools, and so on. Okay. Again, I will not be able to go into detail because of the time constraint, but just to share with you, all of these are basically instruments that can be used to really push Islamic finance and to be what we call linked to the real sector, to address issues faced by the population. And Wakaf, the good thing about Wakaf also, it is for both Muslim and non-Muslim. Like Zakat, Zakat is specific for Muslims, but Wakaf is for all. Okay. And I will not go into detail this much. So again, let me just conclude by saying, this is gambar ini not in Thailand. This is in Kalimantan, Indonesia. Okay. They also have this pasar floating. Okay. Okay. So again, to conclude, to say that, I mean, the development of Islamic finance, if with Islamic economic finance, if we want to be really for the people, it has to use different framework. It has to go beyond Sharia compliance. It has to be based on Maqasid Sharia. Okay, it has to be based that, so it has to move from halal to tayyib. And to do that, of course, there must be more work that needs to be done to measure and so on. So again, thank you very much. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Prof. Dato, for the very broadening, informative, and enlightening speech. I don't know whether we are given some.
Only 1 o'clock.
Yeah, some. Do we have ample time for some question and answering? Just one. Okay, just one. Okay, so so now, ladies and gentlemen, we now open the floor for question. And I'm sorry, only one question or remark. Yeah, please welcome. If you don't have any, then I have one, Prof. Okay, with digitalization and of course for the fourth 4.0 industrial revolution in the picture, what do you think, Professor, of the potential market alternatives, especially for our young graduates in Malaysia? I don't know about other countries, Brunei and Indonesia and whatnot, but apart from only focusing on an SME or small, medium entrepreneurship and also gig economy. So maybe you can please a little bit focus on that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I think if you look at to develop the SMEs, a lot of them need supports in different ways. I think that's why when I mentioned earlier on about Islamic blended finance, for example, I mean, we can be creative. The micro and the small enterprises they need training. They need training. So how do we fund them? One way would be to use the zakat money for capacity building. Just like you give scholarships for students, not necessarily they are poor students, because under the category of fisabilillah. So under this, for example, the ITCAP program, trainings are given to the micro and small business through zakat fund. Then you can also use zakat fund to buy equipments for them, particularly those who are asnaf. So you can buy equipments and give them, contohnya kalau dia buat kerupuk, the machinery. That's part of zakat. You can also use wakaf to provide them with machineries if it is a bigger one under wakaf. But of course, wakaf is not owned by them, but so it's like you take a long-term lease for that. So wakaf can be used for that. Then the commercial finance for the purpose of financing. But you can also use, like for example, in other countries, sadaqah being used to support them for the financing part under Kadu Hasan. You know, for example, in Pakistan, there is one large microfinance company, Islamic microfinance company, by the name of Akhuwat, that gives 100% Kadu Hasan loan to their borrowers. 100%. Tak ada interest langsung, tak ada charges. 100%. Bagi 1,000, dapat balik 1,000. Pure Kadu Hasan, microfinance to the poor in Pakistan. Repayment rate 99%. Sampai Harvard University buat case study on that microfinance institution. Imagine that. The power of, how does he collect money? From sadaqah. The power of sadaqah being used. So what I'm saying is that to develop the microfinance and small, medium enterprises, the power of Islamic social finance combined with commercial finance can be utilized to support the financing of the micro enterprises, together, of course, with digitalization, basically for them to expand the market. That's all. Thank you very much.
I have to ask Professor Datuk to please remain on the stage. Thank you, Professor Datuk. Ladies and gentlemen, that is one of those very brilliant ideas of Islamic economics, and especially when we talk about halalan tayyiban mubarakan, which is a very, very important point to be add on to our maybe curriculum syllabus and whatnot. Ladies and gentlemen, there is an English saying, if you have much, give of your wealth. If you have little, give of your heart. As a token of appreciation, IMEC would like to invite Associate Professor Dr. Technologist Sharifah Fauzia Said Rahman to the stage, accompanied by Dr. Farah Safura, yes, to give some souvenir to Professor Datuk as a gesture of our goodwill and faith. Thank you. Honorable guests, ladies and gentlemen, we are now at the end of our session. IMEC would like to extend its utmost gratitude for the pleasant and smooth flow of the event. Please forgive any shortcomings from our part. May we be granted with seeing each other again in the future by Allah's grace. Before we proceed with luncheon outside of this Dewan Belian, for your information, students, there are lunch outside of this Dewan Belian. And for the participants, you are most welcome to Restaurant Cahaya. Let's conclude our session today with Surah Al-Asr and Tasbih Kafarah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Wal asr innal insana lafi khusr illa alladhina amanu wa amilus salihat wa tawasaw bil haqq wa tawasaw bis sabr. Subhanakallah bihamdik asyhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Dipersilakan untuk jamuan makan tengah hari. Para peserta dipersilakan ke Restoran Cahaya. Manakala adik-adik pelajar dipersilakan di ruangan luar Dewan Belian. Terima kasih.